Okay, welcome guys to Unraveled. If you can't really tell, Hannah and I are together in the same room.
This doesn't happen often either.
And oh no, here. Okay. And here's our guest, our special guest for today. His name is Luca. He is a mini golden doodle, and he loves to play, and he loves to cuddle, and he will be hanging out with us today. Yes, he will. Okay, so today we will be talking about changes.
Embracing change,
yes.
Adapting to change, knowing when it's time to change, being okay with it, and just making changes. Because we know, according to, what is the guy's name? Herodotus, a Greek philosopher, change is the only constant, so we better get used to it.
Yes, especially now that we've been, through the pandemic, it's been, a lot of people have been really forced to, we're constantly faced with changes, but not as in your face and more direct and in the timing that we've had to make these changes and implement them in our lives as we have now in the pandemic, right? A lot of different changes can mean changes in, our relationships or in our professions, professions, career, financially, and with everyday life, things that we go through. So we kind of want to just talk about how we embrace change, because I feel like that is difficult. At first you have to be open to seeing that and accepting that there needs to be some sense of change that we need to do. It's almost like a responsibility for ourselves. So yeah, just embracing changes and knowing that it's not comfortable. Some of these changes are positive. Some of them are in situations where they're very negative. Why are you yawning so much? You're just sleepy.
Change's gonna come.
Oh my gosh, just what is happening right
It's been too hard living.
He's like, I'm out of here.
I guess it's, since we recognize that change is coming, sometimes we need to be able to actually see it. I think a lot of people, even though it's obvious it's time to change, maybe their environment or something about themselves or whatever it is, if you're sick and things are going wrong in your body, it's obvious it's time to change something about something, and so just like being okay with, you're a naturally adapting human. Like, your body is going to be evolving all the time, at every minute, being exposed to all different kinds of environments. Your body is always adjusting and moving. And so it's already something that's naturally happening, and your body will let you know when it's time to get going and to change. But the more you ignore that, the harder it becomes for you. And then ultimately, and sometimes the sicker you can get, just by ignoring things like, and we talked about in our last episode, but your body will let you know if you're stressed, and if the stress is related to something work related, and it's not just like, just a bad week, it's a bad few months, a bad year, maybe it's time to consider something new.
Yeah, and then when we are open to that, and not just open to it, but aware that there needs to be a change. We have our daily lives that we are going through to work. It might be a 9-to-5 job. It might be something more freelance. It might be different. It looks different for all of us. But there is a point sometimes that we kind of sit back in the day and reflect, or we should, reflect on that. And, we question if there needs to be some change. If, we are unhappy with our daily profession or just hours, or we're stressed, we know that. We can sense that there has to be some change, and it's just accepting it. That's a hard thing, right? Because as we accept change, a lot of the time it could be in negative situations, like a job, just embracing that maybe this job is just not making me happy anymore, or maybe I'm just not happy in this place that I am right now. So what are you going to do with that? you're going to sit and you're going to continue and not make an effort and take that step to make a change? Or are you going to say, you know what? Yes, I need to take responsibility. I need to move forward and make this change. So it's accepting it and embracing it and adapting and being okay that this change that we go through, whether it's daily or weekly and just in our lifetime in general, is good. In the end, it's good. And embracing change, and being able to adapt to the things that the way they come and being comfortable with that, it really is much easier. Because Hannah and I have Hannah has a very, if you haven't picked up on that, she has a very interesting way of flowing through life. Okay. So we haven't mentioned this before, but she has done a lot of walks through Europe, like Caminos. Mm-hmm. And these are things that are, anyone is able to do it. But not everyone, at least to my understanding, can walk through it. Right? Like,
I mean, actually, or like it's about being so something like that. It's about being called, but what I've learned from things like that. So I've hiked, I don't know, collectively like 1,000 miles. I don't know, a lot of miles across Europe. Okay, I was on a journey for to self-discovery, and in those situations, everything is so unknown. Change is happening at every single moment, from environment to food, to language, and all these things are happening. And so you're quickly adapting and learning, and quickly adapting and learning, and, then implementing. And that idea and that kind of thing, you're supposed to translate that into your life away from the journey, of the life away from the hike. That just shows you in a very clear way how changing and adapting and moving, how it works. But it's transferring that into the everyday life that has really helped me. And so now I recognize, when things aren't moving smoothly, or, things are difficult, and it's not say just, throw up your hands and leave, when something gets hard, but your body will let you know, your intuition will let you know when it's time to move past something or change something. And it's always important to remember that your journey through life, you're meant to be happy. If you're not happy, it's time to change. Like it sounds so simple, but if you're not happy, something's got to change. And your journey will provide for you exactly what you need. There's no 100% your journey wants to take care of you. Your purpose, ultimately, your purpose in life is to be happy. So however you get there, the closer you're going to get to your purpose.
Well, I'm just like, yeah, girl, go. But through the way that you have, and I haven't done a Camino because I know I could do it, but I know for a fact that's going to strip me down to my knees. I mean, literally. And I know that's something but I'm open to it. I know at some point it's something that I want to do in my life, just for self-growth, and just at that point, to just have that experience, because I think it's amazing. I mean, when you talk about it, it's amazing. And through you and sharing your experiences and, hearing about your journeys and how every time that you took that journey, you were embracing, and you knew at that point, we've used this word, but because it could be used negatively, but like the word surrender is like you're surrendering to all these, like a plethora of like changes that is coming your way. You have no control, right?
So you just allow it. You allow it, and like exactly. the more that you fight it, just the more difficult and stressed you're going to be. Yes, the Caminos certainly teach you how to just be durable and resilient, and in the midst of change, and then you're moving through life with grace, and you let go of these fears, because that the life, your journey is just moving you along, and it's going to move you along whether you want to go or not.
Right.
It'll force you. You have no choice, really. It starts giving you choices, hoping that you're going to catch on to the very clear signs that it gives you. But if you're not getting it, boom. Pretty much is going to happen, and you're going to have no choice. I mean, it's just, we've all experienced that. We've all had to learn the hard way. Okay.
And I talk about it like I'm over here like, yeah, girl, yeah, we've been through these walks. Like, no, I haven't. It's just from our conversations and the way that through her experience, what she's learned and the way that she's walked through life, that of course being her friend, that like I have learned as well and has helped me as well, because it's for me, I'm like, and we've talked about this, like I'm the type of person that I'm very structured. I am very structured. And of course, it does help me in my profession as well. It does help me through certain situations, like with family or like planning, trips. And there's things on there. But a lot of that, when it comes to is like, I don't know if it's, I don't know, I don't like to label myself or anything, but like, I do like things like perfect, the perfectionist, I guess, to in a sense. I'm working through that. But, through, we all have our little kinks and our quirks and things like that, that for me, at least, having some of these changes, that day-to-day life, that life is not going to go the way that you were planning it to be.
It's not
my
linear.
profession is to plan. Literally, I plan what my day's going to look like and what it's going to look like for my students. Does it always go the same way? No. And a lot of it through my profession, I've learned that we have to kind of roll with the punches, and kind of adapt. Like that is a strong word, like adapting to the changes and being able to be comfortable and trusting in yourself and being confident that in yourself, that whatever you embrace is just, it is what it is. And you're going to just kind of go with it and keep moving and embracing it. And I think the hardest part is just being comfortable with that, that, like you say a lot, life is not, or your journey is not going to steer you wrong, through everything, through all these changes to everything, whether they're forced or consciously we decide to make those choices. Because sometimes we don't consciously make those changes. Like we can say, okay, I know I need to work better in this. I know I need to date this. I know I need to change this so it can help my relationship. But sometimes, like during the pandemic, it's like in your face, boom, like you literally are forced. They knock on the door. It's like, hey, you got it. What are you going to do now? Like what, you got to do something. You have to make a decision. So it's just, and it's so hard because we live in such a world where we have so much abundance and we have constantly so many different opportunities and so many things here and there. And we get so clouded with all these opportunities and all these things that are happening in the world that it really does cloud these huge things that we need to embrace as far as growth with these changes through our life. In general, like changes are just rough. They're not supposed to be fun. I think that the more we embrace them and the more we learn to just take a step back and really reflect back on us and how that's going to affect us and essentially affect the people that are around us, then I think in the end, it's a win-win. Whether it's a positive or a negative situation, changes are going to need to happen. The world is going to shake you because there needs to be that change for you, right? And we're all connected.
Absolutely.
So, any change that I go through, it's affecting my best friend. It could affect my dog. It affects my family. It affects my relationship. It affects the way that I communicate or I work with my coworkers. It affects everything like that. So when we talk about changes, it seems so simple as like changes within ourselves, but in reality, these changes affect everybody else because we're all connected.
I think that, for me, if I'm too comfortable somewhere, that means not enough change is going on. And if things aren't changing, that means I'm not growing. I think a lot of personal growth happens in the change. It's in the uncomfortable places. And so for me, of course there's that balance of needing to know when to rest and, just letting things be. But I also feel like for myself, I'm someone who changes my room around a lot because I need a perspective change. I need there to be some kind of growth, something that's going to stimulate my mind to, to further propel me to my purpose. And yeah, I just think if you're not embracing change, you're comfortable being comfortable, and there isn't a lot of growth that can happen in that place. And as humans, we're meant to grow and learn and be the best version of ourselves that we can and raise our vibration so that we can ascend.
I mean, everything it comes with a balance, right? Because we
Yeah.
talk about like changes sometimes that the world literally is telling you you have to do something
Mhm.
because like you just have to. You're not happy
Mhm.
or that. So it could come from that place, or it could be from a very positive. So there has to be a balance because like we embrace change. I mean, I am somebody who I want to try something new. For me, that's a way of changing because I'm constantly thinking of how can I evolve. Like if I
Mhm.
feel like I am like not plateaued, but like what's the word? Like to just be, and I don't want to use the word stuck, but just be
Stagnant?
I guess stagnant in a place. And this could look different for somebody. It could be I'm a person that like, you know, if I go months and I'm like, yes, there's a comfort in knowing that everything is great. I'm doing that. But my mind, my curiosity, my creative, you know, person inside of me is like, time to shake it up. We got to do something, you know. It's challenging ourselves. Changes is also embracing those and noticing that we need to challenge ourselves. So we're constantly trying new things, right? I mean, this podcast is literally a change that we're like, you know what? We're just gonna talk about topics and our lives and share it and we're changing
just creating a change. And you know that actually Hawaii and living in Hawaii for a little while really showed me change very in my face as well, because Hawaii is, you know, it's on a volcano, and it's like the newest land that ever was. The land there is always changing and always moving, and that energy from the land influences the people. And it's a very transient life. Like you have to be willing to change and move and adapt and embrace that, you know, very quickly all the time. And I'm talking like within days. Like things are completely new in just moments there. And, you know, I think that's a very special thing about Hawaii is that it forces you to recognize this change and you better be moving with it, because if you can't keep up, it's going to spit you out. Like Hawaii will hurt you. It needs to accept you. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, that's the people that live there. It's a very transient way of living. It's very moving. It's never the same. And no one expects that it's going to be the same there. And, you know, people live in a lot more ease because of that. They're just used to that life. And once you understand change and you're open to that, you move through life just a lot easier. You like, it's less stressful. You're expecting it. You're now almost expecting change is coming, and that's fine, you know?
And you're ready for it without even feeling like you're prepared for it. You are comfortable with the sense like, oh, like this is like I need to do this. It's like it's almost like, all right, great,
right.
Let's just do it.
But yeah, we'll just work with what we got, the hands that or you know, the cards that we were given. It's
exactly.
You just take it on, and it's just like another thing. And sometimes it's going to be, you know, more of an obstacle than other times, but you know that there's a lesson to be learned here. So that means that nothing's ever going to be a waste of time, because you're always going to be learning a lesson. And if you're comfortable, you're not learning and you're not growing. So it almost like makes all these changes just such a blessing. I mean, I can think for myself, was there ever a change that's occurred in my life that was not a blessing? You can think about it and, you know, for yourself and reflect on yourself. Has there ever been a change in your life that wasn't somehow a blessing in retrospect? I feel like most of us would say that we have been blessed, and, you know,
and a lot of it comes from like a different, like, of course, a perspective, you know, because, you know, changes can, like the word can be mean in so many different ways. You know, it could be very unexpected, like tragic moments in our lives, or it could be very loving, you know, lessons or things that we embrace. But a lot of it comes from perspective, and it's just having that open mind, like that perception that and accepting and being open that life is going to throw you curveballs. Life is not going to be this straight highway and then you get to choose what exit you come out or where you stop. It's not going to be that way. The road might be closed. There must be construct. Like it's just things will happen. And I think personally, through my journey and so far, it recently really has helped me to understand that life is not the straight road and accepting things for how they are. And You know, there's going to be challenges here and there, but just knowing and accepting that whatever is going to come in the end will be lead, of course, depending on your perspective, as like a blessing. And I guess when we can say a blessing is in the end, it's going to make us grow. It's going to make us stronger as human beings because we're human beings based on experiences. And if we look back and we start thinking of all the changes that we had in our lives from like, even in our friendship, I mean, we have evolved and, you know, different changes here and there. I think what we want to get to is that if you are feeling right now, as you're watching this video, that you are stagnant or you're in a place to where you are facing a situation that is uncomfortable, that makes you anxious, that causes you stress, or maybe a situation that, you know, excites you or that you're interested in or whatever, you know, take that time to kind of reflect on yourself and really look. It's like, okay, like how can I take where I am right now? And then do I need to make changes? Do I need to approach this differently? Do I need to think about it differently? Like, what do I need to do? If it is a positive, which a positive could be as far as you're sitting down and you feel like, my life right now, I'm pretty blessed. I got a great job. You know, I'm surrounded by people, my family and my friends that are healthy, of course, important. I'm in a loving relationship. You know, stepping back and you're like, okay, like everything right now seems pretty at peace. It's like, maybe just think about, it's like, okay, maybe I want to change something. Maybe I want to try something new. Maybe I want to, I don't know, take a trip, or maybe I want to, um, I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is that changes, of course, can be positive. They can be negative. In a positive way or a negative way, whatever way we take it, it's gonna be growing.
Yes.
You know,
It's never, there's nothing ever that's going to be wrong in change. You know, it's always an opportunity for personal growth and development. And stagnant energy, if we feel stagnant, okay, just on a very basic level, energy is everything. We are energy, food is energy, the air, whatever, everything is energy.
it cannot be created nor destroyed.
Right. And it gets transferred, but it cannot be stagnant. And if it's stagnant, this buildup happens within us and then we explode. And you know, human combustion is real.
Which is like puts a
no, but energy is meant to move. And so it's important just in a very basic level that we keep our energy moving. And even like within our bodies, you know, our cells need, or, you know, their energy. Air is energy that energizes our cells. Food is energy that energizes our cells. And our body needs to move. Human body needs to move. And if we don't move, it thinks that it's not needed anymore, and then it dies. And then energy will just transfer to something else. The energy needs to move, and you need to be a vehicle for that, so that can happen, or your body just dies. That's what happens. If your cells don't feel like they're being used, they die. I mean, that's just science.
It's just science. Bill Nye, the science guy.
I always gotta say something.
You know? I know. Hey, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
Back it up with science, girl.
It's
Get
there.
it in there.
It's there.
While you were talking though, like I was thinking about just like stagnant and all that. And I was just thinking about like a body of water. Just like, I don't know. Let's just think about like a body of water that is not moving at all. It just stays there. There's no movement. There's nothing. Over a period of time, you know, it's gonna stink.
Yes, that's a beautiful way to describe it. Yes, it's true. It's true. But then you think of something like a river that's, you know, flowing always, and not to say that there isn't pollutants in there, but it's likely going to be fresh water that you can drink. I wouldn't be drinking stagnant water.
No, it's gonna stink. It's gonna be growing.
Bacteria is really growing in there.
I'm pretty sure over a period of time, if there's fishes there, they're gonna come and rise, and they're not gonna be alive anymore. And like it's just not. It's just, you just
that could be our energy. Yeah, that can't be your energy.
Right. And change can look differently. So when we think about that, like it's like relationships. Like you're in a happily loving relationship, whether you're married or not, whatever that may look like. It's like, you're stagnant, everything is great. Like, don't you want to spice it up? Don't you want to try
Right.
something new? It's like, hey,
Mhm.
honey, like let's do this and do that. We're humans. We are constantly seeking curiosity and just like wanting to experience. We learn through experience and we thrive in it, whether it's good or bad. I mean, that's just how we grow. So that could be a positive thing. A negative way could be, just embracing change, that maybe you're not in a so happy relationship and maybe you know it and you just feel like you're stuck and you're like, what do I do? What do we need to do to make this work? Your mind, your relationship is telling you something has had to change to make it better, for you to grow, for them to grow, for you to grow together or grow apart. Totally fine. It's just embracing it and just being comfortable with it. Whether it's positive or negative, whatever way it looks like, is just
expect it, accept it, move with it. Yeah, I feel like that's
because if you fight it, I would say, I don't know if you, that's where anxiety happens. When you fight it, it's gonna continue to be there. The world's gonna continue to move if you're just like, nope, not gonna happen. I'm not gonna change.
Right. And you've locked yourself in a box doing that. I feel myself as someone that wants to be expanding at every opportunity and grabbing everything that comes my way. And that's how I try to embrace change. But the times are going to keep moving, and you need to keep up with the times. It's just the inevitable. And if you are stuck right here, you're just in this box. But the rest of the world it's moved on. And I think that's something also that COVID had taught us, that whatever life we were living before is just, we gotta let that go. That's not the life that we used to live. At least for me, the working, dedicating life to just like work or unfulfilling work. It's just not something that I'm willing to do. But there's some people who still like hope for that to go back to their unfulfillment. And I think this has been a great opportunity for us to really reflect on, the things that we think, the things that we now have time to change. I mean, it's all change. It's all moving. It's all changing.
What's that song? It's like, isn't it Tupac? It's like, things will never be the same. It's like,
yes.
It's like, oh, is it change? Yes. We need. Oh no. How does it start?
Just the way it is. Things will never.
How does it start though? It changes.
It's something about
myself.
Yeah. It is Tupac. That's funny. I like that song. I was actually just listening
to
it.
Song.
Yeah. Nice. And then there's Change Is Gonna Come. Who is that?
Change is gonna come. You're alone on that one.
No, there's like, oh gosh, it's not Otis Redding. He wasn't the original one. Just forget it. Then we got Bob Dylan. Times are changing. This is not new news. Not new news, okay?
It's not new news. It's we're just like, everyone needs a quick reminder. And that's what it is.
Maybe we needed that reminder, but we're just doing it in front of you.
Maybe this episode is more for us than for you guys. But you know what? If you're watching, thank you.
Yeah.
We hope that maybe some of these conversations maybe have led you to change the YouTube channel.
Oh my god.
Or make some changes in your life or reflect.
Like, if this is not aligning with you, like, you have the option to change. Do you see how beautiful that is? Like, you might just be annoyed by us, but you can just change it. Like, that's the beauty.
As my dog's staring at me like,
right.
Are y'all done? Oh, baby. Okay. Well, yeah, in the end, just embrace and roll with life and its changes that are coming, positive or negative. Take them for what it is, for what they are. And then, I've said this before, but it always comes back to you, right? In the end, it always comes back to you. And whatever changes you have, and I told my students the other day as well, that, everything we do, everything we say will impact those around you.
Energy transfers. So if your energy is low or negative, it's going to affect somebody else. If it is positive and high, it's going to affect someone else. Just even at that basic level, there's still science, you guys. I swear.
Okay. Well, I think. Okay, I think we're good.
Mhm.
I think you guys have heard changes. The word changes. This should be like, one of those games. Every time you hear the word change. But thank you guys for tuning in and just, helping us unravel life and its changes
Right.
through our minds.
Yes. And each other. We hold each other, in doing this, we hold each other accountable. So hopefully you're holding yourselves accountable for this as well. But anyway, so next week we are going to talk about embracing both our femininity and masculinity and the differences between those and how to identify those things and
Everything that comes
finding
with
balance
that.
in them. Because if you don't have balance in that, you're a mess.
I'm so excited for that topic.
Yeah, it's
because we're going to talk about, we're going to crush stigmas. We're going to talk about how culture even applies to how we define, masculinity in Spanish. No. Because it's different. It's different from where we are and our upbringing and all that. So we're going to talk about that and kind of bring our experiences to that. And that will be the topic.
And science. We're going to be bringing some science because we all have estrogen and we all have testosterone. Just remember that.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
We'll get into it.
Well,
thank you for joining.
Thank you. Are you not entertained? All right. Peace out, guys.